Mr. Chairman, once again, my Republican colleagues have decided to impose their agenda on the District of Columbia by voting to disapprove of the act passed by their city council. Like each of us, the members of the Washington, D.C. Council are elected by the residents that they will represent. Prior to being Congress, I was the mayor, as some of the others here who are elected officials, for 14 years, and in that role, I advocated for the citizens of the city that I represented. And the other thing, I was held accountable by those same citizens. Today, I feel as if this body is being the bully over the District of Columbia, because I don't see the boldness or the will for you to take this on as a national issue and prohibiting this from being ever used in any state in the United States. If this was such a moral compass for you and you felt so strongly about it, why haven't you spoken up before? Why is it only in a time that you can step up and use the big thumb to push down on the District of Columbia? I have seen time and time again the District of Columbia being targeted. They do not, by the Republicans, and it doesn't reflect their own personal beliefs. Unfortunately, my colleagues seem to forget that the District of Columbia do not vote for certain Republicans to represent their issues in the U.S. House of Representatives. It would be interesting if this body was elected by the voters of the District of Columbia, which would empower us to make those decisions over them. But no, they don't have that right. Mr. Chairman, you were quoted in February the 8th in a Washington Post article regarding the Death with Dignity law, saying, and I quote, "I didn't ask for this bill. The District of Columbia presented it to Congress, so we have the option to deal with it." Quote. Well, Mr. Chairman, I think it's safe to say the residents of Washington, D.C. did not ask for this disapproval resolution either. I urge my colleagues to vote against this disapproval resolution and allow the citizens of Washington, D.C. to express their views like the residents of the 6 states that have legalized death with dignity. And I want to bring up another issue because, like so many of us, my grandparents raised me and I was a caretaker at the age of 16. I had the responsibility of caring for my parents. And when you talk about a family decision, I had at one time, every single day, my grandmother tell me, "I'm tired. I'm tired, honey. I'm tired of suffering." She never asked to die, but her faith was, God, you know, I don't want to suffer anymore. But I also had an aunt that was sick and couldn't speak for herself, and she went into hospice. And again, I watched her die. But that was a family decision, and it is heart-wrenching. Why are we as legislators, who gave you the right to sit there and go in the family and the homes of these residents of only Washington, D.C., and you stand there and dictate how they handle that situation? It's wrong. We are not here to take our own personal views that some of us share and some of us disagree on. And we're not saying for you to adopt it, because when it comes your time to deal with it with your family, you should have the right and the moral responsibility to make the decision for your family. Just like I want it for mine, and I definitely want it for the members for the citizens of Washington, D.C. And I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.